Hey guys, welcome to Watch Your Wearing, episode 2. First we want to thank everyone who took the time to give our first introductory episode a listen. And, we got some good content for you today. We noticed, Grayson and I, that we really didn't go over, why we got involved in the watch business and what really draw us to this industry in our previous episode. So we wanted to do that today, and that way you can just learn a little bit more about us, and build some trust with us as you go on this journey with us to a more successful show. So again, I'm Nick, your host, and let my buddy Grayson introduce himself.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. I'm Grayson. Moved to the city about 2 years ago. I've only been in the watch game probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
I really started getting into watches back in college. In high school, I didn't really even know what an automatic watch was. I just liked the look of a stainless steel bracelet on someone's wrist and thought that was cool. I had a Seiko early on that was just a quartz piece. I got a Victorinox when I graduated high school. That was just a quartz Swiss piece, but
Yeah.
quartz, because I didn't really understand automatic movements, and wore that through most of college. And through YouTube, started discovering the world of watchmaking, right, and horology, all of the technical aspects of automatic watches. Started watching a few YouTube channels, just learning about watches myself, and started with some entry-level pieces like I think everyone does when they're first starting getting into the hobby, getting into some Seiko dive watches, trying them on. The beauty of watches is that if you buy them right, they hold their value or can even appreciate, right? So what I was able to do back in college is wear a bunch of watches for free or even make some money, right? Even though they were lower level pieces, if you're buying the right kinds of Seikos and dive watches, some vintage Omegas. I had a Omega Dynamic chronograph, for example. It's a $1,200 watch at the time. I think now they're going for around $2,000. But pieces that you can wear around, experience, and if you know what you're doing on eBay or the forums, you can sell them, flip them, make a couple $100s, and get into a slightly better piece, and just start working my way up into pieces. And I just caught the bug. I was obsessed with it. I love experiencing a bunch of different kinds of watches. And now, when you're in the business, when you're starting to deal with watches, you get to be able to touch a little bit of everything and really understand what you like. So, it's a relatively new hobby for me. I've only been in it for 6 years or so, but I love it. It's a great industry. It's really exciting. The technical aspect of watches is just something I really appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that I have the same kind of story, but the way I started into it was my parents, when I graduated college in 2019, they gave me $1,000 for college graduation, and we're kind of like, hey guys, like I have, so a little bit about me. I'm a triplet, so there's three of us, so we got $1,000 each, and my parents were like, hey, this is supposed to last you until you find a corporate job. My brother got lucky; he went over to med school, and he still doesn't have to worry about a job for the next little bit. But my sister went ahead and she bought a car because she needed a car to commute to work. And I, in all my intelligence, decided to buy myself a Breitling quartz for $800
Yeah.
as a celebration. And my parents, of course, when it came in the mail, they were like, "What is this?" I said, "It's my new watch." And what ended up happening was they were like, "Hey, you're crazy. We gave you $1,000. Now you have $200 left. It's supposed to last you until you find a job, and $200 isn't going to last you very long. For anyone who lives life knows that $200 isn't going to get you very far.
You'll be gone in a day if you go out to eat.
Yeah, here in New York, one fancy restaurant kills you with that $200. But anywho, so they told me, they said, "Listen, we need you to sell it, and we need you to get some of your money back." And at the time, I was looking, and online it was going for about $1,500. I said, "All right, I'm gonna put it up for $13.50 and see what I can do. If I can make, maybe I'll make a couple $100. And that's exactly what happened. About a week later, someone local to me was like, "Hey, I'll give you $13.50 for it to watch that. I want to wear it daily." And I went with my dad to go meet someone at the mall of all places because he was a little concerned, meeting a stranger to drop off an expensive watch.
Got to go in a public place, right?
Yeah, public place.
Witnesses, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, listen, with witnesses, and that's something I still practice today. Is we're meeting at a bank or a police station if we're doing a public transaction. But anyway, so then $550 richer, I said, you know what? Let me see what I could do to maybe do this as a part-time job. I went ahead and I got a mentor, and that as we'll discuss in further episodes, didn't really work out as I had hoped. But then COVID hit, and I said, you know what? I guess I'm going to do this as a more full-time job, and now we are here. And it's definitely been a fun journey for me. It's crazy that when you start out, you're like, wow, I'm spending $1,200, $1,500 on a watch. That sounds like a lot of money. And now 2 years later, spending $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on a watch that is going to appreciate, or is at least going to hold its value. I don't have to bat an eye, if the numbers make sense. So just that mindset shift when you start viewing watches more as investments instead of just money pits has been very well noticed and very well documented for me personally.
Yeah, and it's one of those hobbies that's really fun, even as an end user, if you're not a dealer, because of that, almost asset nature to a luxury timepiece. They hold their value if you buy them right. If you're getting them pre-owned, like what we deal with, you're getting it at the best possible price, and oftentimes with the right brands, the Rolex, the AP, the Patek, even some of the other brands like we have here, JLC, Zenith, Omegas, Panerais, like I'm wearing today, they're going to go up in value and hold their value, right? So you're not even spending money like you are, say, if you're buying jewelry, if you're buying an expensive vehicle,
or Bitcoin. I know our friend Grayson over here is a huge Bitcoin guy. Anyone who watches the news knows that Bitcoin took a bit of a dive this week. So I'm not saying to abandon that platform, 100%, but watches is always been a good safeguard against inflation, things like that.
Certainly less volatile. Doesn't have the growth upside as Bitcoin with 200% compound annual growth rate. Rolex will never hit that, but it's a much more stable hold of value, something you can wear on your wrist and appreciate. Something that's actually tangible in the physical world other than being a digital asset, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll agree to disagree on that one, but let's go to some brands here. Speaking of brands that, kind of hold and maintain their value. Today we have for you 3 particular watches. This one right here is a James Bond Aquaterra. So these are really interesting. So they only made, I believe, about a limited number. I think 10,007 or 7,007 of these watches. And what I think is really interesting is the blue dial. But not only that, it's got, if you look very closely, it's got a really cool coat of arms. And what we'll do is we'll get you guys a picture of that so you can see it on your screen. It should pop up shortly, but this coat of arms on this watch, it's just really amazing, and you can really just see the devil in the details when it comes to this piece. An interesting thing too is this case back. If you guys have ever seen the bullet logo of the James Bond, how it kind of swirls on the case back over here, you do see the bullet logo, and it is an exhibition case back, and I just think that this is a really nice summer piece. I mean, the yellow just really pops on the blue background, and we're sitting at about 41 millimeters on this piece, which I personally think is the perfect size. I wouldn't necessarily call it a replacement to other 41 millimeters classics like the new Submariners, but I think it's a nice auxiliary piece to have if you want something a little funky. In fashion, we talk about having your grays and your navies, and then after that, you go ahead and you get something crazy like a striped or a different color. I think this, if while I wouldn't recommend it to be the first piece in your collection, it should definitely be the second or third if you're an Omega fan and you like James Bond.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the pop of color on the seconds hand that's yellow is certainly bright and a great accent color. But this is a piece that you could wear every day, right? It's stainless steel. It's 41 millimeters. It's a great size. It's got a real robust movement. It's got this beautiful blue dial with the subtle accent. This could be a watch that you wear to the office and on the weekends if you are open to having a little pop of color. It's a limited edition. You don't see these very often.
Yeah.
So you have something that's scarce and kind of unique, right? I've never seen someone wearing one of these on the subway or out and about in New York City. So you have something unique here in this piece, but also something you can wear every day. So I think it's a great piece.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we don't recommend you wear most of your watches on the subway, but this piece over here, I think, like I said, is a great second or third piece in the collection, and will really help you stand out from all your friends.
Absolutely. Let's look to the Zenith that we have here. I think that Zenith is really an up-and-coming brand, really underrated. I think the Defies, like you can see here, this beautiful blue alligator strap, the blue dial. It's very simple and classic. Again, another watch that would be great to wear to the office, working around. And I think it's just elegant and beautiful. Zenith is one of those brands that makes incredible movements. The classic El Primero movement was in the Rolex Daytona for a number of years.
Yeah.
Right. So very well respected in the watch community, but I think one of those brands that's on the up and up in terms of their commercial recognizability, their commercial popularity, and we're starting to get more clients that are wanting Zenith these days as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting take. So we took this watch in on trade, and it's my first Zenith, and what I like about it is the simplicity of the dial. You see blue, which is a very popular dial color these days. Probably, I would argue, one of the most popular dial colors. And just the simplicity of the watch. There's nothing too crazy going on in the face. But if you look at this case back, maybe that's something we could showcase on the screen for you guys. It's got this most intricate, star-looking thing, and I just think that it is a great entry-level Zenith. I know, people really look to the El Primero and different pieces like that when they think of Zenith, but something like this, I think you can't go wrong. I mean, blue on blue is incredibly popular, and while I am not 100% sure that Zenith is going to grow in value, I think that it's definitely a great store of value. And I think buying something like this, especially from someone like us with our capabilities at a very affordable price, you're not going to lose. And I think that Zenith, like I said, is really on par with those up and coming brands like you see Grand Seiko and things like that. And I think in the coming years they're really going to make a name for themselves in the watch business, and I think they already have to some extent with some of the more popular models.
Absolutely. Let's go to this JLC that we have here. We started more sporty, got a little bit more elegant with the Zenith, and now I think we're going to a true classic dress piece. This JLC Reverso Grand Tal on a beautiful beaded bracelet here. And this is a beautiful watch. Definitely something you're going to wear when you're going out, you're dressing up with your significant other, going out to dinner or in the office, you're wearing this with a suit, and it's just absolutely classic. JLC is really at the pinnacle of watchmaking. They're called the watchmaker's watchmaker, right? Everyone in the industry all the way up to, Patek used to use their movements back historically, right? So the whole industry has a ton of respect for this brand, and this is a classic watch, actually the very first sport watch, right? Yeah. These JLC Reversos were made for polo players to protect the case back with this. The ability to flip around the watch and have the clean protected back. I know a lot of times people these days get it engraved to mark a special occasion. Say they get married, for example, they'll put their wedding date and get it engraved on these watches. So this is just a beautiful dress piece, really classic, and will never be out of style.
Yeah, the interesting thing, so what's interesting about this piece, the Grand Tal in particular, is you see it a lot on movie actors when they're trying to dress nice. Something that drew me to this watch in particular is, if any of you guys are fans of the Christopher Nolan Batman series, Bruce Wayne wears this particular model on his person.
Yeah.
And that's what drew me to it. And I said, you know what? I said, it'd be great to wear a watch that Batman wears. If you guys have ever seen Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio, he also wears the Grand Tal. Wears it on strap, which is also an interesting way to pair this piece. But I think if so many Hollywood actors and producers are going to this piece, I think it's got definitely a stake in watchmaking. And I just think that something like this, it's simple, white dial, you got the blue hands here, you can't go wrong. I think so many people are scared of JLC, especially people in our age group, because they're saying, listen, I don't want to be wearing my grandfather's watch.
Yeah, grandpa watch.
Yeah, it's a grandpa watch. I think that it has a bit of elegance. I think put this on a strap, and you're ready to go out to a nice dinner with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, whatever it is. And if you want to make it uber dressy, there is that option with this beaded bracelet. So all of these pieces are available at Tarot Timepieces. And as far as us ourselves, I got myself an Omega. Grayson's got himself a Panerai today. And yeah, I think that it's amazing to me. You look at these three watches and you have something for everyone. And that's the interesting thing about the hobby of watch collecting is, you could all start in different places, and you could always end up in this, you're all kind of ending up in the same place. And for me, watches adds a bit of personality and flair to everywhere, and I think that's really interesting. I think that's needed in this world where, there isn't a lot of differentials. There isn't a lot of, everyone's trying to kind of act like each other and be like each other. I think that watches kind of bridges that gap, and you have people from all walks of life coming in to collect these beautiful pieces.
Yeah, and in a world where everyone's got an Apple Watch on, everyone's looking uniform, right? I think wearing a nice timepiece, something that won't break in 2 or 3 years and you're gonna have to buy a new one, something that retains its value and holds value, something that can really differentiate yourself from the crowd when everyone, especially in our age group, is wearing an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
There's just so much variety in the industry these days. You can really, show off your personality. Like we showcased 3 completely different watches, right, that you can have in your collection that are optimal for different contexts within your day. And Nick, you got a beautiful Omega on. That's great for the pool.
Yeah,
this JLC is perfect for the boardroom, right? So you can build your collection and really live your life within different contexts, and not just put on something that everyone else has on your wrist, right?
And the whole Apple Watch trend is really interesting to me, if we could talk about that for a second, because the Apple Watch shows me that people want something on their wrist. So it's interesting to me that they gravitate towards that Apple Watch, and not a lot of people are, into this hobby, or they're rather just now getting into this hobby as it picks up more traction with other platforms, and other YouTube channels. So, what's your opinion on that? Why is the Apple Watch built up so much, kind of clout in recent years?
Well, first of all, it's just the brand cachet of Apple, right? It's one of the biggest companies in the world. I think they have the highest market cap of any company in the world. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah.
But, I think the functionality with the fitness tracking and the step tracking is appealing to a lot of people who are more health conscious. In my opinion, if your phone in your pocket is tracking that, you don't necessarily need it on your wrist. I don't like to get texts show up on my wrist and distract me from conversations, or if I'm working and having my wrist buzz throughout the day.
Yeah.
I appreciate the engineering of a mechanical timepiece being able to tell time with springs and gears, and the handcrafted nature rather than something that's mass produced in China.
Yeah.
So I think the brand cachet of Apple is what um, makes it so popular. I think Apple outsold the whole Swiss watch industry, for better or worse, in the
Yeah.
last couple of years in terms of just volume and in terms of overall revenue. But I think as you become more sophisticated, as you get older, you start to recognize the beauty, the elegance in having a mechanical timepiece and something of value on your wrist, something that you're not going to have to throw away in 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think that to speak to the connectivity of people. I mean, listen, that's how Grayson and I met. I think that watches and love of horology, because it's such a niche hobby. Really has brought a lot of people together. It's brought us together to provide you this show and build upon our friendship, and that's kind of what we aim to do here at the show and at Tailored Timepieces is kind of not only sell you watches, but sell you watches that you like, and sell you watches that help to build and showcase your personality. Because I think every wrist should have a watch, and I'm just so grateful that this is how we were introduced to the business, and the versatility in the so many ways you can take not only watch collecting as a collector, but also as a dealer.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. And look, we're excited to be showcasing what we have to offer and be able to talk about the industry every week here. Thanks for joining us on this journey. This is our second episode here. We're going to be looking to bring you content week over week, and we're really excited to take you guys with us as we grow and expand here in New York.
yeah, awesome guys. Well, have a good day, and first, thank you for, like Grayson said, joining us on this journey.
Take care, guys.
Bye bye.